bird on a tree. I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. Sometimes you need to go and take a step back to see the truth around you. From a distance you can tell. to be in the great outdoors, forever free. You and me, meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free.
Greetings, Glitter Gang. Happy Thursday and Merry Christmas. You're watching Kathryn Scraps Live. My name is Kathryn, and this is Christmas in July, which we have been doing, I think, 1 year, 2 years, whatever. It's not a long tradition, but we are going to make a free Christmas project. We will return to decorating the... Okay, that's too many sheets at once, clearly. All right, can't do six. Can't do six. So it's, yeah, it's a tradition now. It's a tradition now. So we're going to do a free Christmas project. Now, what I mean by a free Christmas project is that I will give the measurements that you need to make one of your very own on stream. And then you can take notes and make it in your own time. You don't have to buy any tutorials or anything like that. So I'm not going to write anything down. You have to write it down. So you do have to participate in the free project. So if you need to, I wonder if it's full. How do you know if it's full? If you need to go and get your notes ready, am I going to regret this? Oh, well, that's clearly not the problem. Clearly the problem is my arms are weak. Well, that's great. That's just great. So what I have here is I have my cardstocks. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have my cardstocks from the new colors from Color Made Smooth and Silky. Color Made Smooth and Silky is available from the Paper Mill store. That's the cardstock that I use. It comes in a ton of colors. They recently released more colors, which I purchased so that we could add them to our swatch book. And I'm going to be doing that really quickly now. And then while I'm doing that, let's say hi to everyone. So we didn't have class last week. How did you all occupy yourselves? Did you all get caught up on the Catch a Tag Remastered album? Are you all totally caught up now since we took a week off? Or is that not the case? Is that not what happened? Fran says she drank and cried. Aww. It wasn't so bad. It was just a week. It was just a week. All right, let's say hi to everybody. Hello to Carol Joan. She was first to chat. Followed by Bev and Priya. Happy Thursday to all of you. Fran, hello. Gretchen, how are you? Candy says, greetings, oh glittery one. Greetings, oh glittery ones. Sparkle, all of you. Sparkle, sparkle. Priya says, happy Christmas in July as well. Kimberly says, hello, everyone. Hi, Kimberly. Sandra is here. It's glitter day. That's right. Speaking of glitter day, if you ordered one of these and you live in the US, you should have gotten it by now. We shipped all of them, but I don't think it's been enough time since we shipped them to have had them reach international locations. But we did ship all of them. So those are all on their way. It's the Glitter Gang tool, miracle tape tearing tool. Deb, hello. Hello also to Crystal, Joyce, Ella, Cindy. Oh my gosh, so many friends to say hi to today. Donna Jet, Antja, Riedel from Germany. Riedel like the wine glass maker. Vicky, how are you? Good to be back with everyone. Yes, it is. Deb, hi. Shaka, hi. Joyce says hello as well. Barbara Jean, hello. Melanie, sorry to hear that, but I'm glad you have something fun to do today. Joe, hello. How are you? Catherine is here. She missed all of you, she says. Judy says, can you and Kathy work out that you're both not gone during the same week? Yeah, I guess we didn't coordinate that. Sally Ann is here for roll call. Hello. And oh my gosh, Gretchen says she was supposed to get her tool yesterday, but the post office said they couldn't deliver it because they need to confirm her address. Yeah, it does sound like they just forgot to put it in your box and now they're making excuses. How was your birthday? My birthday was nice. I mean, it's just it can be. We got Mr. Lifeguard picked up a steak dinner from a place nearby, and they also did gallons of sangria, so you could get a gallon of sangria from them. So he also grabbed a gallon of sangria. So we had steak dinner and sangria. We played some games and we went in the pool. It was lots of fun. So I had a nice vacation. Mr. Lifeguard was off for 3 days in a row as well. So that was nice for him. All right, so I used the cinch to punch the middle holes. But, and this is going to sound embarrassing, I don't know how to like calculate which holes I want. I don't know how to do more than just these holes. Does that make sense? Like, how do you do that on the Switch? I know this makes me sound so dumb, but like, I don't see a thing. Oh, is this it? Now I'm like, it's this, isn't it? I see. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what do I do? Don't we love it when I'm figuring stuff out? Oh, I have to pull this. So I put them on this post. Oh, right. And then I turn off the holes that I don't want by pulling them out. Okay, so I should, in theory, oh, looky there. All right, I figured it out. I'm so smart. I'm so smart. At least I'm not going to get canceled by We Are Memory Keepers this time. Yep. All right, I think I got it. Okay, and so then once I'm done with that, then I'm going to take my scissors and I just cut from the edge, and I'm making my swatch book. This is how I add pages to my swatch book. So now that I've punched all my holes, I just have to make a slit from the edge in, and then I can pop these over the rings and add them into my book. And I'll show you how I do that. And I'll show you with these 4. We'll do 4 at a time. I purchased an entire pack of each color because the samples are like $3 and a pack is like 10. So I thought I'd just rather spend the additional $7. I mean, it did cost me over $400 to purchase just the new colors. So it's not like it was a cheap endeavor, but like it still would have cost me $120 just to buy the swatches. So I guess what I'm saying is I'd rather spend like 3 times as much, or I guess it's more like 4 times as much, and get a 25 sheet pack than just get one 8.5 by 11 sheet. You know. All right, so we've got gray, and we haven't had gray before other than this charcoal color. So I'm just going to pop the gray right in front. So what I do is you just stick it here and then you just push in between. Let me get the pokey thing. I think that'll help. Oh, I was totally wrong. My finger was better than the pokey thing. And then you just push it in. And this is how you can add things to a book that's already bound. Why are you fighting me? I've never had this much trouble. Anyway, all right, there we go. All right, so that's how you add. So, all right, what have we got? Red. So we'll go to the red section next. And I'm going to try to put these in as close to color order as I can, like rainbow. So I'm going to put this one in between apple and maroon. And then once they're in, we'll pick a pretty colored base for our book. So now I want to talk to you. Well, let me give you some more updates. So another update that I have right now is I finished my 52 books in 52 weeks project. So I'm done with that. Barley grass. Oh, barley grass is one of those that was kind of like not yellow but not green. I have a feeling, like, see how if I put it next to yellow, it looks kind of greenish. And I bet if I put it next to something, well, it looks more green than anything else. So I think I'll put it, I went from yellow into orange. Maybe I'll just put these right in between. I'll just put these kind of greenish colors in between yellow and green. My 52nd book, which was the subject of some wiffle waffling on my part, like I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do for my 52nd book. See, and now I have these grayish greens, but then I have this like green. So should I keep the grayish greens with the barley green? Yeah. And then just start the green greens with this bright one. There we go. That's what we'll do. Because I was like, maybe I'll read Infinite Jest finally, but then I couldn't get the audiobook from the library, and I thought I might need that to help me. So in the end, I was like, okay, let's just go through the Man Booker Prize winners, and anything that is already on my wish list, then I'm gonna, hey, Congratulations, Chaka. So what Gods of Jade and Shadow, I'm still on hold at the library for that one. But I did read Things You Save in a Fire. And, whoa. Yeah. So, I'm not hugely disappointed that Things You Save in a Fire didn't make the list, or didn't make the cut, I would say, for monthly book club. Although it was better than Footprints in the Sand. So, at least it had that going for it. So there you go. But, and then I want to read Gods of Jade and Shadow. I'm trying to just figure out, like, you know, I'm just trying to read all 3 books this month just for the fun of it. So the only one I have left to read is Gods of Jade and Shadow, but I have to wait to get it from my library. Gretchen says she finished Lock Every Door the other day. Pretty entertaining. Yeah, it's entertaining. I think it would make a great movie, actually. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. Also, for those of you who want to read more, well, I was just going to say, and have a long commute to work, but then it's like, who's going to work? What am I talking about? But audiobooks can help with your commute and getting your reading time in, like, at that point, instead of, or like when you're doing something like washing dishes or whatever. But, yeah, audiobooks are great. Or at the gym, whatever. And Lock Every Door I read as, I mean, I bounced back and forth with Lock Every Door between my Kindle and an audiobook. But I listened to a lot of it on audiobook, and I thought it was good as an audiobook. Because the book is very sort of like cinematic in a way. Like, it's very movie-like. So, I mean, today's not book club day. I don't want to do any spoiler talk. But, you know, it's very easy to visualize what's going on in Lock Every Door. That's something I will give Riley Sager, is that you know what's going on. Like, you see it very clearly, what's going on. So, and, you know, so there's strong writing for sure. Like I said, Lock Every Door for me is more about missed opportunities than anything else, in terms of, like, I think it could have been a really great book, and instead it's a good book, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with being a good book. So, you know, like, you know, there's nothing wrong with being a fun time. You know, not everything has to be literature. So there you go. What I read for my 52nd book was A Brief History of 7 Killings by Marlon James, which incidentally is 700 pages long. So he and I have different definitions of brief. However, I guess it's only like 100 pages per killing. So that's pretty brief. And A Brief History of 7 Killings is about, while it uses the attempted assassination of Bob Marley ahead of the Smile for Jamaica Peace Conference as the framing device for an exploration of the intersections of masculinity and colonialism and poverty and sexuality and, I mean, politics and all sorts of poverty, violence, gang violence, drugs, just a lot of different aspects of what Jamaica is dealing with in Jamaica itself, and then also additionally in the Jamaican diaspora in the United States. So he's doing a lot. The book spans 20 years at least. Starts in the 70s and ends in the 90s. So it covers quite a long period of history. And the 7 killings, way more than 7 people die in the book. But the 7 killings are sort of specific ones that he highlights. The narrator of the book is dead already, is a ghost. The first line of the book is, "Listen, the dead never stop talking," which is actually a pretty compelling first line. And what I will say about Marlon James is that few authors I've read ever in my life have been as good as he was at character voice. There are over 75 characters in the book. You don't have trouble distinguishing them because he gives them all such unique voices. Like, that's a thing that he is masterful at, like completely masterful at. He's obviously done a ton of research as well, and he is Jamaican. So some of this is, you know, lived experience for him as well. But the book is written in English, but also the book is written in Jamaican patois, and different characters use different degrees of it. So some characters is very heavy, lots of slang that like an American or North American wouldn't be familiar with, and then some it's very little, just a little bit here and there. It's like a spectrum. Some people don't speak it at all, and it was challenging in the beginning because I had to get used to it, because he just kind of throws you in there, you know, and there's no glossary or anything. You just have to figure out from context what everyone's talking about. But you do, you know, you just can't kind of rush through it. But it was really super interesting. It was really, really very, very interesting. I would definitely read more of his stuff. He's right now working on a West African Yoruba mythology inspired fantasy series. So when he's done with that, I'll read it. I don't read series in progress. But so that was what I read for book 52. So now for the rest of the year, I can read trash if I want to. That's how I don't have to read anything good for the rest of the year. I read my 52 challenging books. I read 2, and I found out when I was looking at the winners for the prize, the Man Booker Prize, that he was nominated in 2005 or 2015 rather, along with A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. And he won, which he totally, oh my gosh, if I had found out that A Little Life won instead of this, I would have been really furious. But yeah, no, so I'm done. I've accomplished it. So maybe I'll just play Nintendo for the rest of the year. But yeah, I'm in. I enjoyed it. It was a fun challenge to do, and I read a lot of things I wouldn't have read if I hadn't been doing the challenge. And so for that, you know, I'm really pleased that I read even stuff like A Little Life, which I didn't particularly care for. I'm glad I read it. You know, I can choose the next books. That's true. Well, I already picked the books for August book club, and I don't think any of them are bad. So I think regardless of which one you pick, you're going to pick a winner, because I think I only picked winners. But I have thought that I only picked winners in the past and have picked some big losers. So we'll see. We'll see. But I didn't get the new Nintendo controller. I have the one that came out with the Switch for when we're playing group games, but because I like it better. Like when I'm playing like something like Stardew Valley, I just play on the Switch itself and hold the Switch, but like there's some games you want to play on the big TV, and I want to use the controller for those. So yeah, I have some friends from college who wanted to start a book club, and I said, "Oh, here, I can pick the books." And they were all like, I said, I've done a ton of research this year, and they all kind of looked at me and they were like, I don't think you should be in charge. And I was like, wow, harsh. I was like, you do better. Okay. It's not easy. You might think it's easy to pick winners all the time, but you're not incorrect. Incorrect. I know, so rude. So rude. I don't know what I did to deserve this treatment. So then because I'm ornery, you know, a lot of the time. So then I suggested that we read Ice Planet Barbarians, which is, which was like free on Kindle or something. But, a lot of people on BookTube like make fun of it because there's like 25 books in the series or something, and it's about like, it's just romance novels with blue ice dudes, and they're supposedly terrible, but like people read them and review them because it's campy and fun on BookTube. So I just wanted to prove them right, I guess. So, all right, so. Where do I want to put bright yellow, do you think? Like, maybe we should put it in front of solid gold? Yeah. We'll just have a, like, yellow section. And then the orangey yellow section. We're going to have to get more subtle with our sections because they got a wider variety of color tones. When they pick a dud, make sure you tell them I warned you. The Christmas in July project is going to be envelopes. We're going to pick a color for the cardstock. That's why I forgot I hadn't made finished the swatch book, so I'm just quickly finishing up the swatch book and chit-chatting, and then we'll start the project, and I'll make a recording break so that, you know, you can go straight to it if you want to. But what we are making is we're going to make envelopes, but I want the front of the envelope, like where you would write the address, to be a clear plastic pouch, like those pouches we made for you know, what the heck? What's the book that we're working? Oh, Catch a Tag. Thank you. I was like, the school version. Yes, exactly. That little plastic pencil case we made. So we're going to take that idea. We're going to put it on the front of an envelope, and then we're going to do a deconstructed envelope. So the envelope will come totally apart. You know, you won't just be putting things in and out of it. And then we just have to figure out if we want the deconstructed envelopes to have button and string closures or magnet closure or what. But it's not like it matters. It can have whatever closure. And then I think at the end we'll just make a box to hold them in, kind of like an oversized recipe box. And then you can just flip through the envelopes. You know? Yeah, I'm going to let you guys choose. You know me, I always let you guys choose. We always do what you want. All right, so here's caramel, which I think is going to go in with the would you All right, I think it's going to go here. I must be on the wrong show. Such shade. Such shade. I don't know what I did to deserve this. But yeah, next month, July, we're reading Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. But next month, we're going to choose from... Gotta get all the way to the front. This book is going to be a little stuffed when we're done, but I'll, you know. Okay, so now we've got brown. But next month's theme is books inspired by other books. All right, so that's the theme, the overarching theme. The books will be The Art of Fielding, which is a book about baseball inspired by Moby Dick. The Aisha at Last, which is a book inspired by Howard's End. And Jane Steele, which is a book inspired by Jane Eyre. So, all right, so we're going to put orange after the kind of like red-orange. So those are the books next month. And I don't know a ton about the plot of Aisha at Last or The Art of Fielding. I do know Jane Eyre or Jane Steele, more or less the plot is that instead of letting everyone walk all over her, she just kills everyone who's mean to her. I think Jane is a serial killer. So like, you know, her aunt and her cousins are like abusive towards her in the beginning and then send her to a school where there's abusive teachers, and I think she just like murders all those people instead of like just sucking it up, because that's what she does in the book. She just sucks everything up. The world's gone crazy. J Cubed says, I really enjoyed The Art of Fielding. Just saying, I think it's supposed to be a good book. So you vote on The Art of Fielding. Yeah, I think she's exactly. Instead of just thinking like, how come everyone's so mean to me all the time? She just is like, forget these people. I'll just kill them. So I think that's the now, and I think that the surprise of the book will be how the stuff in the house is handled when she becomes a governess. You know, less the stuff at the school. Like, is she gonna kill Rochester? What's the deal there? Is it a love story at all? Is he gonna join her on getting revenge on everyone that's ever wronged her? I don't know. I might read it anyway, just because it sounds funny to me. But, you know, I don't think it's meant to be serious, but I could be wrong. Who knows? So that's what we'll be choosing next month. And then, all right, so darker than that, not as dark as that. Some of the colors are a lot easier than others. All right, and I'm going to make a parchment section behind the browns, I think. Yeah. So we'll just have a little parchment section behind the browns, because I will never use parchment ever. So we'll just corral them all together. All right, here's another gray. Never say never. I know you guys are probably going to vote for a parchment today. You're going to be like, we want a parchment base for these envelopes to make it look old-timey and cool. And I'll be like, no, never. And then I won't do it. And then you'll start spreading rumors about how I don't care what you want. And that this isn't a democracy and you never get to choose. And that... Why would they be rumors? Would that? Look. I'm just going to put gold with orange. We would never vote for parchment because then we know what's coming. Yeah, you just waste your votes. So and then the reason I've chosen this pouch envelope box design is because, first of all, not everyone celebrates Christmas. So not everyone needs a Christmas album. So I wanted it to be versatile. I tried to make my album bases versatile. So that you can use them for anything. So just because I'm making it school, cruise, Christmas, whatever, you can make it. You want to make it whatever holiday you celebrate, winter, birthday, it doesn't matter. It's always usable, or my goal is for it to always be usable. So even if you don't celebrate Christmas, even if you don't celebrate Christmas or care about Christmas, you could still make this along with me. Just choose a different paper and style. All right, gosh, did we need both of these? I mean, come on. This one's a little bit redder, so I'm going to put it closer to the back because it's a little bit redder, but I mean, honestly. Pumpkin and pumpkin pie. Come on. Here I am getting salty about cardstock again. But whatever. The makers did think I needed two similar colors. They did. Maybe I should have organized these before I started putting them in the book, and then I wouldn't have to flip back and forth as much, although it's not like it's taking me that much time. I do need a helper. The Merry and Bright collection has plenty of winter sides to the paper, Mary says, for people who don't need Christmas. We'll go through the Merry and Bright collection and we'll try to find, the sheet that kind of represents the whole collection. And then we will... I'm going to put this one back here with the more orangey shades, even though it says it's light gold. And then okay, we're getting there. We're almost done. They may have just, maybe they discontinued pumpkin and pumpkin pie replaces it. That's a good point. Priya says maybe, you know, we would have looked at pumpkin and thought maybe if this was just a little bit redder, we could use it, and then gone on to something else. And now we have pumpkin pie for that. Don't defend them, Priya. Whose side are you on? Are you on my side or the paper side? This is war. This is the internet, and if I want to be upset about something stupid, I'm going to be upset about something stupid. I'm also not upset about it, though. Okay, spruce. So spruce is a super dark green, and it's from the more grungy greens. I'm going to put it here then, because I think it fits more with the really grungy greens. All right, yellow. And then hopefully we'll be able to find a really interesting, intriguing color for Merry and Bright. But even if we don't, there are plenty of... this sage color is also really grungy, so I'm just going to put it here. Oh, no. I'm going to put it... I made the grungy section. Yeah. All right, English green. You know, we may end up using English green. English green is kind of like the Christmas green, I think. And then we have another red. I don't think they needed to add as many reds as they did, but I will give them that all the reds are different. See how much oranger this one is than this one. All right, so as soon as I'm done with this, we're going to pick the color, and then we're going to do a recording break and do the planning. Wouldn't it be cool if olive worked? I don't know. I'm kind of hoping something weird like that is what we go with. Because remember military green and half the fun? I mean, that's not what I would have thought was going to be the winner. You know? But it ended up being... It's not going to be shocking pink. Okay? It's just not. Oh, I can't close the book anymore. It has too many stuffs in it. Ultimate alligator mouth. All right, so fresh cream. Okay, it's darker than really buff. So fresh cream is definitely, oh, here we are again in the, they're not cut anymore. Last one. But all right, so oh, now they're talking in the chat about bacon sandwiches, and now I want a bacon sandwich. I had fruit and toast. That's not nearly as fun as a bacon sandwich. All right. Last blue, we've got Midnight Flag. Oof. I mean, it's ever so slightly bluer. This is another one. This one's a little more warmer. This one's a little more cooler. More cool, more warm. Again, very subtle difference between flag blue and cobalt. At least we have purple now. And I'm going to loosen up my wire because I think I can. I think I have some room. Doesn't need to be quite as tight as it is. Give myself some breathing room. All right. I do need an assistant to help me do stuff like this. It would be nice if I could just say, go finish my swatch book. And then someone would just go finish my swatch book. But that's okay. I got there. Here we are. Oh no, another purple. I mean, that's fine. We needed more purples. Yeah, if they come out with more colors, we're going to have to find a new way to keep the track of them all. But for now, here we are. Swatch book. Okay. We've got it done. Can we close it? Not quite, but it's better than it was now that we've loosened oh, it's a thick one now. It's getting thick. Okay. So, excellent. Now we're going to pick our cardstock color. If cats weren't so lazy, Kitty and Tiny would be great assistants. If only cats weren't so lazy. Okay, here is Merry and Bright by Paper Phenomenon. This is the paper that I've chosen for the Christmas in July project. It is still, at least when Kathy sent it to me, it was still available as a paper already printed, like ready to go. But of course, even if it's no longer available like that, it's available digitally. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to flip through and we're going to say, what is the sheet that is, what's the sheet that like is super representative of the whole collection that kind of has the vibe for our project? Like this one has red and green, silver and gold, so it's a possibility, but you know, maybe we'll find something we like better. It does have a black base, it looks like, so of course we could use black. I think this is the 2019 Christmas collection, but I'm not sure about that. But I think it's this is the 2019 Paper Phenomenon Christmas collection. But she does still have a box of the paper, or at least when she sent me this, she told me she still had a box of the paper. So Okay, so like this is where we have to decide. Maybe this will be your first decision. And whether or not we're going to go for like a dreamy, crafty sort of look, or like a crisp, put together sort of look. Because we could do a, you know, using like this pattern, we could do like this red right here, this green right here, or of course black. And those would be one look. And then this, like, I'm sure we could find a craft that matched close enough, and that would give it more of a country DIY handmade look, a more casual look. See, this is a nice red. Okay, look at this cream. Let's think here for a second. Maybe what we need to do is make some red envelopes and some green envelopes, use cream for our photo mats, not white, and maybe the box is craft or black on the outside. So we have some red envelopes and some, because I'm loving how this red and cream look together. And if we used cream for our photo mats, it would be cream photo mats on the red base. So I'm thinking that that might be the way. That might be the way. We could use this on the outside. Wouldn't that be pretty? Oh my gosh, look at this. This would be so... Is this black right here? Or is that like a dark green? You know, if you can't tell if something is black or not, it's usually not black. That's kind of a rule of thumb that I go by. If I'm like, is that black? You know, like if Mr. Lifeguard will say, is this black or navy blue? And without looking at it, I'll say navy blue, because you wouldn't be asking me if it was black, because you know what black looks like. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's a lot of different vibes all mixed in this one collection. There's traditional, there's kind of DIY, like cottagecore vibes for some of them, like this one. There's some vintage stuff, there's some not. There's some really kind of home decor looking piece. See, I always love white stags at for Christmas and winter papers. Love it. What do I want to do? What do I want to do? What do you guys think? You want to do red and green? Yeah, see, look how the red and the green with the cream. Let's do red and green envelopes. Now, the only question is, do we do like bold, this and this? Or do we do like a half tone, this and this? Red, bold. Bold is probably better. That's pretty. Okay, let's do that. Let's do red and green envelopes. Let's try to match these colors. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. And these will be the envelopes. We'll do 6 of each, maybe. Yeah. Or do you want to do 3 of each? What do you want to do? All right, let's start with red. Nope. No. Maybe, I think this is a little orange still. This one's a little cooler. I know my camera, it's tough sometimes with red on my camera, but They look like they're the exact same color. I think this one is, I mean, this one could work like close enough, but I think it's just a little, this paper, it's not quite red. Ooh. All right. So first decision, this is going to be one of those where, do you want to brighten up the collection or calm it down? Because red is going to brighten up the collection. See how it looks here. Let me cover this. So see how it looks like this with the red. And then if I cover the other one, you see this one's a little more elegant, more cooled down, more traditional. So like it's gonna be different energies. This one's more energy, higher energy. This one's lower energy, but kind of more elegant. So, and this one's too purple. Look at that. So it's between these two. So it's between red. Let's go with red. Okay. So if you want the one on the left, the brighter one, that's red. That one, that's red. And we're going to do type of 1 in the chat. And if you want the cooler, sort of calmer one, that's Indian red. We're going to type 2 in the chat for that one. So 1, 2. 1, 2. One is edging out too. So, but it's real close. Really close. But I think one is just edging out too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. All right, we're going to go with red. Okay, we're going to go with red. So red is the color. Red. It's literally just red. Again, this is Color Made Smooth and Silky. This is the color red. Oh, put the cream with the number paper. Good idea. Okay, so it's that versus that. And it's interesting because I think it looks better on the red. I think it's actually much more, this particular red is making this red look more intense. Whereas this particular red is making it look more washed out. Which is yes, this is the higher energy, more intense, sort of intensifying choice, and this is the cooling, calming choice. So it makes sense that in contrast, this one makes this one look like more intensely red, and this one makes this one look like just more. What are the papers for the cover? I haven't chosen yet. But the cover is a box, so we can make it any base we want. We don't have to use red or green. We could use craft or black. It's tough. It's tough. I think we'll go with red. We're going to go with red. Just straight red. This is Indian red, and this is red. Don't love this one's name, to be honest. What do these look like with craft? Oh, any of the papers? Well, there's craft in the paper collection. See? So you could easily use craft. And let me tell you the craft that matches best, or the brown that matches best. So the color that I use as my craft is fresh malt, and you can see my fresh malt's cooler than this paper collection, but there really isn't a warm light brown in the collection that works. So let's do, so I don't think I would do a craft box. I would probably go for a dark brown over a craft box, or a black even. This cocoa color is nice because it's so warm and this is so warm. So see, this bark is very cool. Next to the paper, it looks gray, but the cocoa, because the cocoa is much warmer brown than the bark. Bark was previously my favorite brown from this collection. I think bark would make a nice, brown cocoa. Cocoa would make a nice brown. What about the parchments? The closest is the aged parchment, but it's not close at all. Yeah, I like the cocoa. Oh, this is not cocoa. This is brown, just straight brown. This is the cocoa, which I think is the best of the dark browns. Because again, this one's very cool. This one's very warm and intense, and this one's very... So far we've been leaning towards the warmer colors. Red was the warmer red of the two reds. Cocoa is the warmest brown. Now we need to find our green. So I'm going to flip to the greens. Let's look at olive. Just out of curiosity. I don't think it's going to be the winner. I mean, it doesn't look bad, but it's not like adding anything special. See? It's just bleh. So it wasn't the surprise winner. Not the surprise winner that I thought it might be, but you never know. All right. Gonna find our green now. It's not gonna be one of these grungier greens at the front of our green section. All right, so we have a little bit of a problem with green. I don't think we have a green. This is the only green like in the zone, and this is far more yellow than this one. So, but that is not acceptable. So we don't have a green. I mean, we could use this one just because it's the darkest green, but I think no. Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna have to do. We're gonna have to go with red and craft for the envelopes. So we're gonna have to just go with red and craft. So we can alternate red and craft envelopes, or just use just red by itself. These papers, by the way, these colored cardstocks are from Color Made Smooth and Silky, which you can get from thepapermillstore.com. So it's just thepapermillstore.com. And the line is silky. So if you're looking for a color, what I do is smooth and silky. So what I do when I'm on their site is I just type in silky and then whatever color I'm looking for. So I would type like silky red. To get the red to come up, I would type silky cocoa to get the cocoa to come up. And then the craft color I use is malt, and I would type like silky malt to get the malt to come up. So that's what we're going to be using today. We're going to use fresh malt, we're going to use cocoa, and we're going to use red. Fresh malt, cocoa, and red. So red, here's red. Look how cool red looks next to apple red. Apple red is so orange. I've never seen an apple this orange, by the way, ever. So there's red and cocoa next to each other, and they look nice next to each other. And then here's fresh malt. So we've got fresh malt and cocoa together. And fresh malt and red together. Oh, because we're going to be mixing and matching, you won't need more than 1 pack of any color, I don't think. So, but you know what? Let's just plan and get all our dimensions, and then I can tell you how many sheets of cardstock you'll need. So let's switch to the planning. Yeah, I do have English green. That's this one. The one that's so... See, you can see here, English green is so much bluer than the green in the collection. And then this is, the other green is way too bright. So, fresh malt, no. We're going to alternate. Well, let's do this. Let's take a vote. All right, so you already voted on red. For the other envelope color, do you want to do cocoa or fresh malt? Does English green go with Indian red? I mean, they would go with each other for Christmas cards, probably. But they're not going to be... But they're not going to be compatible with this collection. Because English green is not compatible with this collection. So here's Indian red. Here's English green. Like, you could see if you wanted muted vibes for your Christmas colors, that these would be good. My guess is English green's also going to go with red, which it does. So you could use English green for your Christmas cards with either. Okay, so if you want to do fresh malt and red for the envelope, so we would do half the envelopes in red and half the envelopes in fresh malt, then type a 3 in the chat. And if you want to do cocoa and red, where we would do half the envelopes red and half the envelopes cocoa, then you can do that. So this would be, this is red right here, this one. So this is red and fresh malt. And this is red and cocoa. All right. So red and fresh malt. So this is 4, red and cocoa. And then this is 3, red and fresh malt. So 3, red and fresh malt. Okay, so 4 is winning. So we're going to do, what we'll probably do then is maybe we'll do the box fresh malt. So we're going to start with red and cocoa. We're going to start with red and cocoa. All right. Those are both new colors, so we're using new colors. So, all right. So what we're going to do then, let me go pull their packs out of my stack of packs. I'm going to go get red and cocoa. Is that what I'm doing? Oh my gosh. What are you? You're Indian red, of course you are. That's cocoa. Okie dokie. And then I need red. Just straight red. Here we go. Found it. Now I'm gonna also, let me tell you the cream that matches the cream in the collection best, just for your own information. But I'm gonna be using my cream photo mats that I already have cut. This is from the printer. I did not print this one. So these are the colors that you would get from the printer, not from my personal printer. While we're at it, let me tell you what the cream is. Okay. Yeah, I have to use less than 24 or less because one is already in the swatch book. That's a good point. All right, so here we are in Off-White. Natural is a pretty good match. Yeah, I like natural better than ivory. Let me see. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on camera, but hopefully you will. Okay. So this is the sheet with the natural colored cardstock. Visually in the room with me, when I flip the ivory, this one goes dingy because this one's got a little bit of green in it. So this one, because it's a little bit warmer than this one, when I flip this page, this one is going to look dirty. Okay, see how it looks gray? A little bit gray, a little bit dirty. That's because this one is so much warmer. There's so much more yellow in this one. So if you need to buy cream and you want the cream to match, I would go with the color natural. The color natural. Yeah, see, it looks happier with natural. Okay, so let me just write these all down so I don't forget. So we've got natural for the cream. We have red for the red. There's no good green. We went with cocoa for the brown. Fresh malt is the craft. All right. Okay. All right, so we're ready to go. I'm going to leave the swatch book out just in case I need it for something. And now that we've gone through all the colors and picked our colors, let's go through and design the book. Let's design the book. All right, and let me put the book design in... let me put the book design in its own recording. All right. So the stream will not stop for you, but there will be a recording break and I will be back and I will do a new intro. All right. So I'll be right back with the planning video for this project. Greetings, Glitter Gang, and happy Thursday. Merry Christmas. It's Christmas in July. Today is July 16th, and we are working on the Christmas in July project. Christmas in July project is going to be a memory box of envelopes, and the envelopes will have pouches on them similar to the pouches in the Catch a Tag Remastered school version. You know how we had that like pencil case pouch? We're going to put a pouch similar to that on the front of the envelopes where you would write someone's address, and then the back of the envelope will be deconstructed. We'll have it come totally apart. So what we need to do now is we need to plan the project. So all right, so this is how I plan my projects. I have my idea and then I figure out the measurements. So the envelope pieces are, we've got the pouch for the front, and then for the back we have the flap on the front, on the top, the flap on the sides, and then the flap on the bottom. So I have, and then the pouch on the front we'll cut out and it will have flaps. Like that. All right. So I know that this measurement, like for this rectangle, is going to be 8 7/8 by 6 1/2. And the reason it will be 8 7/8 by 6 1/2 is because you can fit two 6 1/4 by 4 1/4 photo mats in that and have an 1/8 of an inch in between each of them. All right, so it'll be an 1/8 of an inch photo mat, an 1/8 of an inch photo mat, an 1/8 of an inch. You need 8 7/8 by 6.5 to do that. So that's the jumping off point for all the other measurements. So for this piece here, I am going to have it be 8 7/8 by 4.5, because I think that way we can do one horizontal photo mat. We can do a 6.5 inch or a 6 1/4 by 4 1/4 photo mat, and then we can have like a little strip of paper on either side of it. It'll be cute. All right, so that's that. These measurements reflect these measurements, so this by necessity has to have the same. So this would also be 8 7/8 by 6.5. So this one, once we have that, all we have to do is add 2 inches to both of these, and that gives us an inch all the way around to work with. So piece number 1 is 10 7/8 by 8 1/2. All right, so that's piece number 1. This is the pouch. Okay, so this piece is 6.5 plus 4.5 is 11. So we don't have enough room to get this flap out of that piece, this piece as well. But what we can do is take it out of the scrap from this. All right. So we have 3.5 inches left over from this piece because of the, from this 8.5 inch side. So what we can do is we can cut this piece to 8 7/8 by 12, score it at 1 inch, 7.5 inches, and then just stick a 3.5 inch by 8 7/8 inch piece to this 1 inch flap that's left. All right, so we know that we need one piece that's 8 7/8 by 3.5. And then right here, I'm going to join these together and call this piece 1, just so I know that I take both those measurements from one piece of cardstock, because we're trying to be sensible with our cardstock. So I'm actually designing it with the cardstock in mind. Now this piece, we know we're going to make it some measurement by 12 inches. And so the only thing left is to figure out how much room we have to work with the flaps because of this 8 7/8. So let's do, that's going to be a 1/16 of an inch, which is just, that sucks. I friggin' hate 16ths. So I think what we're probably going to end up doing is centering it, but let's try and figure it out. Can we just forget about the 16th? 12 minus 8 and 7. Oops. 12 minus 8 and 7/8 is 3 and an 8. Okay, so this is what we're going to do, just so that we don't hate our lives. All right. We're going to cut it to 11 7/8, and then we can score it at 1.5 and 1.5 plus 8 7/8. So this is now 11 7/8 by 12. Okay. Obviously, this is piece number 2. We're not getting anything else out of that one. Okay. All right. So easy. All right. So we only need two pieces of cardstock to make the pouch and the envelope. That's not terrible. That means that we can make 6 envelopes for 12 pieces of cardstock. So we only need 2 packs of paper, or 1 pack of paper of each color. 1 pack of paper of each color. There'll be 1, 2, 3 photo mats on the inside of each of these. That's 36. on the insides of the envelopes, because it's 1, 2, 3. So that's 36 photos there. You can put as many photo mats as you want in here. Let's just say 4. So that's 48. So 36 plus 48, 84 photos. Wait, how did I arrive at the, no, I'm doing this wrong. 4 times 12. Oh, it is 48. Oh my gosh. All right, whatever. Okay, so I was right. I guess I was just surprised that I was right. Okay, so we have 84 photos. I'm going to divide that by 4 because that's the 5x7 pinwheel. You need 21 sheets of the cream just to do the photo mats. Still 1 pack though. Still 1 pack, but you would have to not make any mistakes with your pinwheel. So that's just something to be aware of, okay? With your cardstock for your photo mats, for that cream color that you, what did I say? It was natural. Of the natural cardstock, you have to do the pinwheel. I will do a demo of the pinwheel for anyone who doesn't know how to pinwheel. So, but that's a way to get 4 photo mats out of one 12x12 sheet. So, all right. But this is the only 2 pieces for the envelopes themselves. So then at some point we're going to do the box. I'm not going to worry about the box today because whatever. Who cares? We don't need to, we're not going to get to it today. So we'll worry about the box later. By the way, this pad, Canson, if you can find it, it's nice for planning albums. All right. So, wait, I need this because I need to know my measurements. All right, now, this piece, well, let's just cut everybody. Let's just cut everybody out. So, I'm going to bring my big trimmer over here so that you can see how to cut them to make sure that you get all your pieces. All right, so we need 6 cocos and 6 reds. That's right. No, 12 cocos and 12 reds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. All right, so I'm going to do 6 of each piece number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of each as piece number 1, and then we'll do 6 of each as piece number 2. Okay, so for piece number 1, the pouch, I want the bend in the cardstock to be on the long sides, so that means I'm going to cut it at 8.5 like this. So I'm going to put the bend in. Okay. So put it at 8.5 and cut. And then this is the 3.5 inch piece for the flap. So set that to the side because you're going to need it. Then cut this to 10 7/8. And then save this 1 inch piece because we might need it to make the scraps for the button and string closure if we do a button and string closure. Okay, so then take this 3.5 inch piece you just cut off and cut it to 8 7/8. And again, just save these little scraps. All right, so you now have the 10 7/8 by 8.5 inch piece and the 8 7/8 by 3.5 inch piece. So do that with the remaining 4 sheets. I'm cutting 2 at a time. So again, 8.5 by 10 7/8. All right. And then the 3.5 by 8 7/8. All right. We're cutting the pouch for the front of the envelope Barbara Jean, and we're cutting the flap for the back for the envelope itself Barbara Jean. That's what we're doing. So this envelope is too large for it to be cut from one sheet. It's just not geometrically possible because it's 6.5 by 4.5. For this is the envelope base, this is the front flap, and this is the closure flap. This is 3.5. So 6.5 plus 4.5 plus 3.5 is more than 12, therefore cannot be cut from one sheet. Not possible. But we can cut that 3.5 inch piece from the 8.5 inch by 10 7/8 inch piece. So we can do it in two sheets. All right. Again, 8 7/8. No, that 1 inch piece wouldn't close the envelope. It wouldn't close it. There is a 1 inch piece hanging off that so that we can attach the flap so that the flap can close the envelope. Okay, so we've got all the pieces now that we need from piece number 1. So we've got 6 10s and 10 7/8 inch by 8.5 inch pieces. We'll use this to make the pouch on the front of the envelope. And then we have 6 8 7/8 inch by 3.5 inch pieces, and we'll use this to make the flap on the envelope itself. So those are piece number 1. Then these scraps I'm just going to keep around because if we do a button and string closure, I can use these scraps to cut my buttons. All right, so piece number 2 is easy because we just have to cut 11 7. We just have to cut 1/8 of an inch off it. So I'm just gonna do that. Just gonna cut 1/8 of an inch off it. Cut 1/8 of an inch off it when you go to do your bending. Put it in this way. Okay, so put it in so you're cutting against the grain. All right, so this is cut now. And we'll do the other 3. Again, check for the grain and put it in like this. All right, and that's all the red ones cut. So we've done all the red. And we should be able to get all the envelopes made right? Half an hour? I can do it. I can get all the envelopes made in half an hour, right? Yeah, no. Okay. So back to piece number 1. Now we're doing the brown. Put it this now with the grain like this. We're going to cut with the grain. 8.5. Okay, cut it at 8.5. This time I'm going to cut 3 pieces. Then turn it and cut it at 10 7/8. And then these are ready to go for the pouch. Then take these. They are now 3.5. Cut them at 8 7/8. They're ready to go for the flap. And then you've got these scraps for the buttons. We don't need to keep these scraps. This is plenty. And then we'll do it again. 1, 2, oops, I have 4 here. So 1, 2, 3. Actually, let me make sure I didn't just do 2. Nope, I did 3. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Pulled 1 extra sheet out. Just put it back. No big deal. All right, 3 more. There we go. Again, put them in like this. 8.5. So how you cut, you know, matters sometimes. How you cut matters sometimes. Eight 7/8 on this one. All right. So now we've done all the pouch and flap pieces out of the brown. So now we just need to do 11 7/8. 1, 2, 3. So on this one, we want to put it in like this. So we're cutting against the grain. And we're just going to cut it to 11 7/8. All right. And then one more time. And I've got 3 of them. Again, I'm cutting it against the grain now. $11 7/8. Why do we cut one with the grain and one against the grain? Because with you want to cut on this one, you want the grain to be on the long side. That's why you cut with the grain when you cut the 8.5, because you're cutting the long side. When you cut the 8.5, you would cut against the grain when you're cutting the 10 7/8, because you want to be against. If you have scores all the way around something, if the thing is a square, it doesn't matter which way the grain is going, because there's going to be an equal amount of inches of scoring against the grain and an equal amount of inches of scoring with the grain. Whenever possible, you want to score with the grain. So when you're scoring all the way around something, if it's a rectangle, you want to make sure that the grain follows the longest side, because that way the cleaner score will be the longer scores. Okay? And specifically in this case, the opening is a long side, so we definitely want our opening to be clean. So and that's why we do it. 90-pound cover weight is what this is. That was a question I saw. All right. Okay, so now I'm gonna put this away and get the scoreboard. All right, so the first piece that we're going to score is the 10 7/8 by 8.5 inch piece, and that gets scored. Let's get... Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun. We've got 12 of them total because we have 6 red and 6 cocoa. Okay. So on the 8.5 inch edge, you're going to score at 1 and 7.5. And on the 10 7/8 inch edge, you're going to score at 1 and at 9 7/8. And you're going to do that with all 12 of them. So 8.5, 1, 7.5, 10 7/8, 1, 9 7/8. And just keep going. So, all right. So I'm just going to keep going and scoring with that, but that's the measurements you want to write down. I think this is going to be an easy project to mass produce. At least I hope it will. Man, this cardstock is really fighting me on scoring today. Either that or I'm just bad at scoring. Oops. Yep, so final measurements. 8.5 inch edge, 8.5 inch by 10 7/8, scored on the 8.5 inch edge at 1 inch and 7.5, and on the 10 7/8 inch edge at 1 and 9 7/8. So it's never you, it's always the cardstock. That's right. I'm totally blameless. So Mary said, so it's 1 inch all the way around. I am opposed to scoring 1 inch all the way around, and I will tell you why. So the reason I give the measurements like 1 and 7.5 instead of 1 inch all the way around, even though 1 inch all the way around is both easier to say and easier to do, is because when you cut paper, you're not perfect. All your sheets will not be exactly the same size. Because of that, if you score 1 inch all the way around, your piece in the center is where the size differences will show. So your envelopes will be slightly different sizes. If you score at 1 inch and 7.5, 1 inch and 10.5, whatever, the piece in the middle is always the exact same size. Your envelopes will always be the exact same size. If there's differences in size in the original pieces you cut, those will be in the last flap. So maybe the last flap will be 7/8 of an inch on one. Maybe the last flap will be 15/16 of an inch on one. Maybe the last flap will be 1 1/8 inches on one because of your cutting, but your middle piece will always be exactly the same. So that's what, this is one of those attention to detail things that can really make you love your final project more, okay? And that way, all your pieces will be exactly the same size in the middle. And that's where you want them to be exactly the same size because that's what the final product size is. So, in other words, I could score 1 inch all the way around, you know, but instead I'm going to score at 1 inch and 9 7/8. And that way I know that this center piece from here to here is 8 7/8, which is what I want it to be, and that all of them will be 8 7/8. All right, So that's it. So that's why I give the measurements like this. If you've ever been like, why doesn't she just say score 1 inch all the way around? Kathryn's so annoying. That's why. Okay? That's why. You need to write the measurements down for this one, Nancy. Yeah. Okay? So if you, that is what maybe seemed like an idiosyncrasy of mine explained. So that's it. That's the answer. If you've ever wondered why I give the measurements that way, that's why. That's why. Okay? So. Yeah, it's not just to make it harder for you to take notes. All right, so this piece is 8.5 by 10 7/8. It's scored on the 8.5 inch edge at 1 7.5, and on the 10 7/8 inch edge at 1 9 7/8. Okay, so yeah, I am going to put the videos for this on YouTube as well. Probably not that first video where we were just chit-chatting and messing around with cardstock, but starting with this video. Even if you don't have access to archives, which I do recommend having access to archives, because I have over 1,000, I think over 1,500 actually, live class recordings in the archives. But even if you don't have access to the archives, this will be on YouTube for you to review and write down the measurements. I haven't read The Snow Child, Joyce. Has Kitty stopped falling into the pool yet? So Kitty, she hasn't fallen in the pool since the last time she fell in the pool and tried to pretend like nothing happened. Which I don't remember if I told you guys about that or not. But yeah, she fell in the pool, and she was like, trying to like walk around all casual like she didn't fall in the pool. There's a link in this video description to no, all my scores are in the same spot on the red. On the brown I did, but on the red I'm good. On the brown I had a couple where I tried to score them at like 9.5. So like right here, like there's one. But so, all right, so these are all scored now. So these can get set aside. Now, the next piece here, so that's that piece. That's how you score it. We also have to cut this one because we've got to cut out that middle. We'll get to that in a second. 8 7/8 by 3.5. This piece unscored. Don't have to do anything. Just set it in your stack. Okay, so that's these two. These ones don't get scored. So just go ahead and set them right there. Last piece, this one, 11 7/8. This one gets scored. So let's go. All right. So This is the 11 7/8 inch edge. And we are going to score at 1.5 inches and some other measurement. 1.5 and 10 3/8. So it's 1.5 and 10 3/8. 1.5 and 10 3/8. So this piece is 11 7/8 by 12. On the 11 7/8 inch side, you score at 1.5 and 10 3/8. All right, so 11 7/8, score at 1.5 and 10 3/8. I'm going to score all 12 of them, and then I'll flip them around and do the other scores. So 1.5, 10 3/8. 1.5, 10 3/8. All right. One and a half, 10 3/8. 1.5. Oops, that was 10 5/8. That's okay. No big deal. So when I mess that up, something like that, if I do a real strong score in the wrong spot, I flip it over to the back. I get my T-rib and I just rub it out. All right. And it can help to get a little stack of papers under it. But yeah, just rub it out. Just push it back in. It won't be perfect, but it'll be good enough that once we put our pattern paper on it, no one will notice it except for Fran. Only Fran will notice. So just don't show her your book and you'll be fine. The first piece is attaching to the front of the envelope, right? So like the first piece attaches right here. And then we'll fold the other pieces around to the back. Yep. So these three pieces will all come together to form two pieces. Well, to form one piece, which will be an envelope with a pouch on the front. Okay? Easy peasy. So 1.5. 10 3/8. One and a half, 10 3/8. All right. One and a half, 10 3/8. See, this is another area where a Sue crafter would have been helpful because I could have just demoed like 1 or 2 and then they could have handed me a stack of 10. Problem is that job would, I only need the Sue crafter for like 4 hours a week, so that would be kind of a pointless job for the person. All right. So now that we've scored the 11 7/8 inch edge at 1 and 10 3/8, we're going to score the 12 inch edge at 1 and 7.5. 1 and 7.5. So 12 inch edge is going to get scored now at 1 and at 7.5. 1 and 7.5. And do that for all 12 of them. I'm already like, we should have just done 3 of each color. Since I'm already regretting doing 12 envelopes. Already like, why? Why are we doing 12 envelopes? Who made that decision? What's wrong with that person? Oh, the old decorating videos for the wedding one. That album took I know, I'm always ambitious at the start, and then at the end I'm like, why are we doing this? And this one would probably be better scored at 4.5 and 11, actually, because that way this piece would be 4.5 always, and then this one would be the one where any variances would be. So let me just switch it and say it would be better to score them at 4 instead of 1 and 7.5. It would actually be better to score at 4.5 and 11. 4.5 and 11 is better. Four and a half and 11. Okay. Almost there. So I will go over the measurements one more time. So get ready to write. And then I'll show you how to cut these pieces, because these pieces do need additional cutting once they've been scored. All right. So you cut one piece 10 7/8 by 8.5. Then you cut the 3.5 inch piece left over from that down to 8 7/8. So you'll have a piece that's 12 by 3.5. So you cut it. And then you cut. That's what you get this piece from. So these two come from the same piece. Then you need a piece for every envelope you want to do. You need one of each of these. Then you have a piece that's 11 7/8 by 12. The 10 7/8 by 8.5 inch piece is scored on the 8.5 inch edge at 1 and 7.5, and on the 10 7/8 inch edge at 1 and 9 7/8. The 8 7/8 inch by 3.5 inch piece is not scored. The 11 7/8 inch by 12 inch piece is scored on the 11 7/8 inch edge at 1 and 10 3/8, and on the 12 inch edge at 4.5 and 11. That's it. That's it. All right, so now Joyce says wait. Now we fat slab. So I'm going to fat slab, and while Joyce is asking her question. Fold along all the score lines and burnish. Oh, it's 1.5 and 10 3/8. You're correct. Yes, sorry. 11 7/8 by 12. On the 11 7/8 inch side, it's 1.5 and 10 3/8, not 1 and 10 3/8. They're right. It's 1.5 and 10 3/8, not 1 and 10 3/8. 1.5 and 10 3/8. That's correct. That was your weight. There you go. You are correct. All right. So every single one of those score lines, you're going to score on them. Okay. And then I'm going to show you which ones we're going to cut. All right. So this is 11 7/8. And we are going to cut, you're going to remove this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. So you're going to remove the 4 corners, okay? So we're going to cut here, 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 here. All right? And when I remove pieces like this, I like to cut the score line off. So I'm going to line my scissors up with the score line so that the score line gets removed along with the corner piece. And you can use your paper trimmer for this if you're not comfortable with scissors. All right. Mary, you should get a Cricut maker. That's the word on the street. Yep, this is the 11 7/8 by 12 inch piece. So this is how it's going to look in its final form. Okay. See how it looks like an envelope? And then this is that 8 7/8 inch by 3.5 inch piece. We're going to attach that here. And there it is. Ta-da! Ta-da-da-da! So then we'll open it up, and then we'll open it up so that you can see the photo that we're going to put a photo here. All right? But that's how it that's how it works. Okay? So we're going to that's the envelope. And then the other piece is going to make a window pouch on the front of the envelope. Okay? So it's going to be a window pouch here you can put stuff in. And then we'll have a button and string closure here. You open it, you flip this up like that. You flip this down, photo here, open, open, photo here, and then whatever else you want to jam in the envelope. Okay, so that's how it works. How easy is that? Everybody with me so far? Everybody with me so far? Okay, so now all we have to do is do that 11 more times. fold along all the score lines and burnish, also known as fat slabbing. Cut out the 4 corners. And, you know, this is one of those projects where I tell you, get yourself a glass of wine or a cup of tea or whatever and a snack and put on a show and just knock out all the construction so that you're not, you know, and just get in the crafty zone and have yourself a nice little afternoon. See, look at that, already done. And then but if you have any questions, go ahead and ask them now. You know, while I'm cutting these, now is a good time to get everything cut. Or get your questions asked. Okay. I intend for the pouch on the front to remain open. However, you could, if you wanted to make it a shaker, you could seal it closed and it would be a shaker. And if you remind me when we get to the point where we're attaching the pouch to the envelope, which will be tonight. So I'll be back tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern USA time, which is 5 hours from now. So whatever time it is where you are now, add 5. That's when I'll be back to do a second show. So I'll be back at 9 p.m. Eastern USA time to show you how to put all these pieces together. And if you remind me to show you how to make the pouch, instead of a pouch, to make it a permanent window like a shaker, you put glitter in there and whatever, I will explain how you can do that. Yes, you can do that. We can do it. There's a way to do it. But I do not intend for that to be the case. I intend it to be open so you can use it as like a pocket to put goodies in. You could put, if we're thinking of like actual Christmas, you know, you could put people's newsletters, the little photos they send you, you know, cards. You could put cards in the pouch and photos of those people on the inside. Just do all photos. Ella, they will go in the archives. If Barbara Jean makes SVGs, I always put them in the folder in the archives. And for the archives, you can, the archives are $5 a month for access to every live show I've ever done. There are many projects in there, which like this one have measurements. And there are projects in there like this one that have SVGs that Barbara Jean made. So you can pay either $5 a month recurring from your PayPal, cancel anytime, or you can pay $49 for the year and get more than 2 months free. Now, you can also convert monthly to yearly. So what you could do is pay $5 to get the SVGs for this project and see what you like, you know, if it's for you, and then either upgrade or cancel or whatever based on how it works for you. So and there's a link in this video's description to the where to sign up for the archives. It says, you know, click here for membership or something like that. I've been doing this since 2009. So it goes, they go way back. Way back. But there's plenty in just the YouTube archives alone to keep you busy. So again, thanks so much to Barbara Jean for offering to make SVGs. Please do not, you know, bug her about it, because she does it just because she's nice. And we want her to continue to like us. And then she also made a lunch pail for the Catch a Tag Remastered, which when we restart the Catch a Tag Remastered, I'll upload it to that folder so it'll be there. But yeah, she did make a SVG lunch pail, because I gave up on the lunch box. I was like, forget it, I'm not going to deal with this. But she persevered. So and she made one. So I will make sure by the time we go back to doing live shows for that one, I've uploaded it. So again, thanks so much to Barbara Jean for making all our SVG dreams come true. Oh, she's still working on that one, so never mind. Forget I said anything about lunch pails. These are not the lunch pails you're looking for. This specific one will remain on YouTube, yes. Well, what it will be is I'll upload the pieces and parts to YouTube. I was going to upload just for starting with this one to be the first one in the series and not the one with the cardstock where I was just chatting and doing cardstock. So this piece of it where I did the planning and the cutting and the scoring and all of that will be the first video in the series, and I'll upload it to YouTube as this video. And then, you know, the next part will be another video. So, but I'll upload all of it to that first, unless you think you want that first part. I mean, it's up to you. I guess I could upload it and not worry about it. But yeah, so You can also download out of the archives. So if there's a specific project you want, I always say, where like say you want the decorating and everything for it, just wait till that project is done. And, you know, spend $5 and download everything. And then, you know, the next time there's a project you want, spend $5 and download everything. You know, how you want to use the archives, up to you. You know. Whether you want access to all the projects all the time or if there's just a specific one you're after. All right, Kathy, then I'll just do the whole thing and not worry about curating it. We'll just put it all up on YouTube. And then I'll put the whole thing up. I mean, it'll still be broken into parts because I already did a recording break, so it has to be broken into parts. However, I'll put the whole thing up. I hear Kitty yelling at Mr. Lifeguard downstairs. She must want snacks. I just heard her make a squeak. Let's see if I can call her up here to say hi. Let me mute so I'm not yelling in your ears. Okay, I called Kitty. We'll see if she cares. I don't think so, though. I don't think so. No. I do twice on Thursdays, and I don't have any other regular show. So Thursdays, you know, I have done in the past little sneaky shows where if I've had a project that I was doing that was an extra project, you know, I have in the past on Tuesdays, but that's not a regular thing. So put a few treats in a can and rattle it. She'll learn to come. That's true. But yeah, if it's between pestering Mr. Lifeguard for snacks and getting pets up here, she's going to go for snacks. Because she's on a diet. So anytime she can get food, she's all about it. We tried to buy Purina. We bought Purina cat chow because we ran out of their fancy food and we were like, maybe we can save some money. We cannot save some money. We cannot. They had a complete meltdown over the cat chow. It was like, I mean, we wanted to move out. So, so we're going to donate that to the shelter, to the animal rescue. And yeah, they thought it was poison. They were like, what on earth is this garbage? And then they were like always hungry. And we researched and it has a lot more carbs than the food we were feeding them, which is more protein. So I think that's why they were always hungry, you know, because they're on a diet and they don't want their calories to be carbs. Cats don't even need carbs anyway. It's not like cats are out in the wilderness eating potato chips. So we were like, fine. We'll find someone to donate this cat chow for. And then you guys can just keep having your fancy Blue Buffalo, whatever, all protein. They do know what they like. And they always want like wild game and stuff. Like for a while they were really into this food that was made out of venison. They're just spoiled, rotten. If my food isn't venison and pheasant, I don't want it. I only eat raw wild game. Although, it's so funny because when we were looking at, I mean, they don't even eat the fanciest cat food you can buy. People are feeding their cats, and I'm like, wow. You can buy frozen chunks of like raw wild game to feed your cats. And I was like, who is out there getting chunks of wild game out of a bag from the freezer and feeding their cats? Like, I think these cats are spoiled brats, and I can't even imagine, like, I can't imagine being that nice to a cat. Fran says she had a cat that fell over when she tried to give him cat chow. I know, they hate cat chow. Sometimes their tummies are finicky and they get sick. My brother cooks for his dog. All right. Well, if you're feeding your cat chunks of raw wild venison, I mean, because your cat needs raw wild venison, then, you know, sure. I guess. Mine gets IMs and they're happy. I know. These cats won't even eat Friskies. They demand fancy feast for their wet food. Although, they will eat Friskies on their diet. So, and it's so funny because Tiny Cat is not on a diet, but she acts like she's on a diet. So, I don't know what her deal is. But she's getting plenty of food. She's not losing weight at all. But she's still acting like she's on the same diet Kitty's on. Like, as if she's also being tormented. Realistically, shouldn't you be feeding cats raw mice? I mean, I guess. Should I just go to the pet store and be like, hey, that stuff that you feed pythons, can I have some of that for my cats? I mean, Kitty's favorite thing to eat is lizards out of the backyard. So out of the lake. All right, so, we could also get our button and string closures out of these scraps too. So we have plenty of scrap options for our button and string closure. We'll be fine. Okay, so we have all of these pieces cut. These scraps for this button and string closure. Okay. You need Kitty for your geckos? Yeah. Renee says Blue Buffalo limited ingredients is all my cats will eat. That's all these cats will eat. So our cats would be friends with your cats. Send Kitty to Fran to get her snake. Kitty would probably love a snake. Kitty loves lizards. Kitty loves frogs. Kitty will eat wasps. She will kill cockroaches, like the big southern cockroaches. In fact, she left one on my crafting desk for me. Yeah. And I was like, wow, thanks for this. So... Yeah, Kitty will take care of any. I mean, I wish Kitty would like just eat the cockroaches, because sometimes, like, I've stepped on a cockroach in the morning because she left one by the side of the bed because she was trying to get me to get up and play with her. So she and I are not on the same page regarding cockroaches by any means. But like lizards and frogs and stuff, she'll eat after. I mean, she'll bring it to us to make sure we know that she caught a lizard, and then she'll eat the lizard. But yeah, Kitty's a hunter for sure. Like when the cats broke out, all Kitty was doing with her freedom was running down to the lake, catching a lizard or catching a frog, and bringing it back inside the house to show us. Like that's all she did, with her freedom. Did she roam around the neighborhood? No, she went straight to the lake, was catching things and bringing them back. Yeah, these cats will not eat pate. If you give them pate, they're like, what is this garbage? They won't eat it. They will only eat meaty bits or shreds. It has to be chunky. So they won't They do love Temptations, though. They love Temptations, and they love the shreds and the gravy, and they love, of course, Blue Buffalo treats. They love those too. They have Blue Buffalo has some treats that they'll eat, and they, but yeah, they're spoiled, rotten, picky little cats. Okay, all right. So where we're gonna start when we come back tonight is, I'll show you how to cut. Well, here's what I'll do. I'm going to show you how to cut one of the envelopes so that or one of the pouches, so that you know how to do it. That way it's all in one construction video. No, that's not what I'm going to do. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'll put one at the end of this, and then so that there's one at the end of this video, and then when we come back tonight, we'll start with these. But this is really simple, okay? You're going to put this at 1.5 on your trimmer. You need a trimmer like this Fiskars trimmer. And you're going to cut from the bottom, so from 7, okay, 7 up to 1.5. And then you're going to put it at 1.5, and you're going to cut from the line you just cut up to 1.5. And then put it at 1.5 and cut from the line you just cut up to 1.5 and put it at 1.5, and do this before you fat slab. And then that's that. So then you have this, you can use it for a photo mat if you want to. Now you're going to fold along all the score lines and burnish. Careful, because you have this big hole in the middle. And then when they're folded over, okay, just trace this with a pencil. You can also trace it with a pen, and you don't have to really do much. You just want to know where this is showing, because you're going to cut it off. And we probably could have cut these just 1 inch bigger all the way around, because we're going to cut off about 1/2 inch. But okay. And then once you've got all of those cut, then take your 3/8 inch tape and put it next to the score line, not touching the score line. You want to leave like a hair of cardstock showing in between your tape and your score line, but pretty close to the score line. Yeah, we could have done 1 inch, but whatever. I'm going to put tape from score line to score line. One of them, the tape goes on the inside, and all the rest of them, the tape goes on the outside. One long one, the tape goes on the inside, and then both short and the other long one, the tape goes on the outside. Okay? So one long one, the tape goes on the inside, and then both short and the opposite long one, the tape goes on the outside. Okay. All right, now. Okay, once you've got all the tape on it, like so, I'm going to go back over here, and at the intersection of the score lines, put that intersection of those two score lines on the wire of your trimmer, and then just cut through that intersection. Just do it on all 4 corners. And that'll give you a 45-degree angle. And then take the tape and line the tape up next to the wire and cut off whatever is left of your cardstock. All right, and that is going to leave you with something that looks like this, okay? Now, let me show you where this goes. It goes here. So this is the top of the envelope, and this is the top of this. So this one, you're going to peel the tape back, and we're gonna put a piece of acetate in here so it forms a window. I'm not gonna do that right now, but this is gonna roll over the acetate. So at the top you have a nice clean edge for anything to slide past. So nothing's gonna get caught. And then these three are gonna fold to the back. Again, there's gonna be an acetate in here, but these three are gonna fold to the back and get stuck down like so, okay? And that's gonna form the pocket. And so what we'll do is we'll put a piece of paper, glue those three down. We'll put a nice piece of paper back there so that pretty paper shows through the window. We'll pick papers that have like cool scenes on them and stuff. We'll cut out nice little scenes or whatever. And then at the top where this is going to be folded over and not stuck down, we'll have a pocket we can stick stuff in. Okay, so that's how it's going to look. All right, so on the front, we're going to have a windowed pocket pouch thing. It's going to be stuck down here, here, here. We're going to have an acetate window so that nothing's going to fall out. And then this is the envelope on the back. Okay, as you can see, it'll have a flap right here. So you see, so it'll look like this on the back. So it'll look like this on the front, window pouch on the front, envelope on the back. So that's the whole piece. And then once we're done with all of these memorabilia pouches, memorabilia pouchalopes, what is this? This is the pouchalope album, the pouchalope. So this is the pouchalope album. These are the pouchalopes. We're going to make 12 pouchalopes. We're going to make 6 red pouchalopes, 6 cocoa pouchalopes. We're going to decorate them, make them look all cute. We're going to highlight the paper in these windows. There'll be 86, I think, 4x6 photos in the pouchalopes. And then we'll make a little box to hold all the pouchalopes at the end. And that'll be the Christmas in July project. So we're going to continue. Yes, Mary said if you plan to put Christmas, you can put your Christmas cards in the front. Yes, because these are big. These are essentially 9x6. So yeah, even so you could put your Christmas cards in them and highlight your Christmas cards that way. That's what I'm thinking that you would use the pouch for, is like Christmas cards or like those photo cards you get from friends and family or newsletters, whatever. Anything cute people send you around the holidays, like cute gift tags, whatever. Like you put those in so that they show through the windows. But you could also, this flap would be great for photo cards as well. You could put photo cards on these flaps, these larger flaps, because it's 4.5 inches. There's room for a photo card. You could also close these and make them a shaker, and the way you would close them is on this top one. Instead of putting the tape there, you put the tape on the outside as well. So you got options. You've got options, and of course, there's nothing about this design that says Christmas. You could make it any color, and you could have any kind of album that you wanted. So it's a versatile shape. So, all right. When we come back tonight, we will finish cutting and making all the pouches, And, you know, we'll start talking about how we assemble things and put them together. But this will be in the archives. I'm also going to be putting it on YouTube as a YouTube series. So it's going to come out, you know, a day or two in between each video. But this will be complete on YouTube eventually as well. So, but I think this is going to be a really cool project. Yes, exactly. There's tons of great ideas in the chat. They're saying you could use it for recipes. You could use it for cruise photos with a different envelope for each port. Absolutely. That's a great idea. A graduation project with some key photos and memorabilia from each of the 12 years of school. You know, you could do, if you were doing a birthday album, you could have one envelope for each guest who came to the birthday, or one envelope for each year of the person's life, or anything like that. So there's a lot of things that you can use this for. Yeah, for baby's first year, you could have an envelope for each month. That's another great idea. Absolutely. So there's all kinds of things that you can use this for. We're doing it as Christmas, for Christmas in July, but of course it could be any holiday recipe box, anything that's a sequence, any vacation, one envelope for each day of vacation, whatever. So there's plenty of options. So I'll be back tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern USA time. Check the video description for links to the paper collection I'll be using, which is Marianne Bright by Paper Phenomenon, and how to sign up for the archives and all that good stuff. And then look for these videos to continue on YouTube. So thanks so much for watching. Happy to be back from vacation. I'm enjoying this project so far, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.